the day we die. S-T-R-A-U-E. Two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bro Sports Show. This is the Straub Bro Sports Show.
Woo. We're back. Did you miss us? Let us, as we were the first to wish you Merry Christmas, the first to wish you a Happy Holidays, and technically by my Facebook post, we were the first to wish you a Happy New Year. Let us be the last to wish you a Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. Same old Straub Bro Sports Show, but the takeover has begun. We're going to introduce, this is Antonio Romero Romo. You may know him as Tony Romo. Shout out to bro. We upgraded there. And this right here, this is what it's about right here, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Straub Bro Sports Show. But welcome. Enough of that. No one is allowed to wish you a Happy New Year from this point forward. It's over with. However, we got a lot to talk about, Drew. In the comments, sir, the comments are blowing up. You were late. I'm putting it all on you because normally, it's my fault. So I'm going to put it on you this week because it is your fault. But nonetheless, we're here. We got comments rolling in. It is absolutely a crazy week. We got 2 weeks technically to talk about, but we're going to get to the good stuff mostly. Shout out to Caitlin. Ronnie's in the building early. She was waiting on us. Paula, we love you. Shout out to my girl Paula. We got some big stuff. I'm sorry, that's Perrin. That's not Paula. Shout out to Perrin. We got a lot to talk about. Ray's in the building. Coach Greg is in the building. Pops is in the building. Yes, they do make your favorite player Squishmallow. And yes, 7 minutes late, but it doesn't matter. Pops, we in the building. I gave the wrong shout outs. That's my bad. I'm trying to get them through them quickly. However, let's get rolling. Strabo, how you doing?
Well, I woke up this morning with the thought that, wow, all of my, legit, all of my sports teams are in shambles. I not a single one is doing well. I went through them all. And then I went outside and noticed that it was gray, dreary, and raining, and went, great, this is amazing. But then I realized if it was like a couple degrees colder, that would have all been snow.
Yep.
And I kind of had a better outlook on life today when I went to work.
My man is searching for silver linings. I understand it. Mom is in the building as well. I think yes, I did. And that's my bad. I missed Mom's original shout out. Love you, Mama. First thing I'm gonna get off the board, Coach. I'm gonna talk about this in a little bit. I know it's not sports related, it's PAFL related, but we will talk about that. All right, Drew, I'm all over the place. I'm rambling and scrambling, so let's get it together. The college football playoffs.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. I'm gonna sound very gloaty today, and I apologize.
Yeah, you are.
But in terms of obnoxious fan bases, boy, did we kick some out of the college football playoffs. Let's get to the games at hand. And we have to start right there at the top. Miami, 24-14 over the Ohio State University. Drew, I'm going to quote myself. 2 weeks ago, I made a statement when we were previewing this game, and I said, the biggest thing that Miami has is the fact that Ryan Day is calling plays. I said that is the biggest gift to them since getting put in the college football playoffs. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, obviously,
shout out to Rapids kicker Bobby Rose Jr.
I can't say it was 100% on Ryan Day.
No.
Because what I spoke about 2 weeks ago was the 2 times this Ohio State team played a good defense, they scored 10 points in both and went 1-1. And so it's very possible that this Ohio State team just wasn't good enough offensively, regardless of who was calling the plays. However, it definitely did seem like there was a drastic difference in the way that Ohio State attacked a defense. And I don't know, it probably was Ryan Day's fault. However, like I said, I don't know if any play caller could have stopped that front four of Miami. That was one of the most dominant defensive line performances I've seen in a long time in college football. And that's the one thing that I think Miami can rest their hat on saying, yes, our offense may not be great, but we can stop any offense in the country and disrupt them with that front four.
We are going to have breaking NFL news when we get to the NFL news segment. So if it comes across your phone, don't put it in the chat yet. We're going to talk about what just happened. Shefty's breaking news as I'm looking through. I'm going to continue on. We got a theme for this game. I'm going to throw back to something that I was also right about because we were spot on about the game in terms of how Miami could do it or what the keys were as well. I'm going to look back 2 years ago. Yeah, cool. Ryan Day, Ohio State, all the coordinators, they ran through the college football playoffs. Listen, they beat up my Irish in the national championship game. You've never heard me make excuses about that game one time because there was no excuses. Then, but if we go back 2 years to when Ryan Day was calling those plays and Ohio State was coming up so short in those big games. I mean, that's what I lean on and that's what I look at for those games. And yes, I know it's last week. We haven't been here. That's y'all got listen, Ohio State. This and I love my guy Ray. Ray knows this. So I like to use Ray as the barometer for some of the fans, although he's not a crazy person when it comes to his teams. You Ohio State fans have been in this chat all year. Just yip. No, you guys, you sit in here and take your L. Okay, you got to, and join me on the couch watching the next round as the team that knocks me out and doesn't allow me in takes you out. Just come on here. There's plenty of room on the couch. Okay, I got snacks, I got wings, I got homemade meatballs. We good.
I'm in bed.
And number one, and also not number one, number two. I love this. Because I talked about this multiple times, not just on the show. Shout out to Raptors head coach Jamal Singleton in the building, dropping a great point. Head coaches, the reason they have good coordinators is because there's a big play, but then there's a penalty, and your team has to punt. What is your head coach doing? He's talking to that player. He's chewing that player out. He's having a conversation. What is his defensive coordinator doing? Over there, getting ready, has the guys together. All right, we're going to go here. We're going to go to this defense, vice versa. What is his offensive coordinator doing? They're up in the booth on the headsets, going through the plays. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're looking for on this drive. It's not possible for a head football coach to be able to do all of that and stay in tune in the game. And also, I mean, it happens in college football. I'm not going to necessarily knock him for this. Because, hell, I'm an emotional coach. Ryan Day's an emotional coach. Dabo Sweeney's an emotional coach. I have Marcus Freeman. He's a robot. Okay? Everybody has their own style that works for them. Dabo's won national championships. Dabo had good coordinators. You need, as a head coach, to lean on the guys who are locked in and focused while you are able to go up and down with emotions, but stay within the game. And that's what happens for Ryan Day. At the same time, as you said, the front four for Miami is sick. Period. No, end of story.
You're absolutely right. But I also agree. The head coach has so much to focus on in terms of, especially late in games, in terms of time management and making sure everyone's where they need to be and, calling out things. Yeah, there should be no reason that a head coach should be calling plays at this high of a level, especially when one small tweak that could be fixed in the booth is not being seen on the field. So exactly.
I agree. As for the Miami offense, though, I will say this. They are going to continue to need defensive performances like this.
Yes.
Because that offense is rough. And I know 24 is the third most points scored in the weekend.
A lot of it was defense.
Right. A lot of that was holding Ohio State away, and then they were able to kind of get some stuff late. how we did talk about this, and I mentioned it before. Carson Beck's a veteran, man.
He gets it done.
Guys been there before with Georgia on the big stage. Like he's not scared of any of these opponents, and he's not he's not new to the big time, I should say. All right, we moving on.
Yep.
We'll leave Ohio State fans alone. All right, let's talk about the drubbing. Oregon 23-0 over Texas Tech. This game was not great. A little. I do you want to say a little closer than the score showed?
I will say yes. Well, okay, yes and no. Yes, because this game was 16-0 really late into the game. So 2 scores and they were back in it. The issue was, and the thing I think literally everyone was surprised about was going into this game, the big message was what was Texas Tech's defense going to do against Oregon's offense? It was almost a foregone conclusion that this Texas Tech team was going to put up points and just needed to stop Oregon from scoring. And then you watched for 3 quarters and you watched this Oregon defense absolutely annihilate and stop Texas Tech in anything that they were trying to do, to a point that you look at this Oregon team, and as long as the Oregon offense stays going as it normally has been, and then this game stopped Texas Tech from getting turnovers, which is what they're really good at, this Oregon team is one of the most well-rounded teams left in the thing. I think I would say Indiana's more well-rounded, but Miami doesn't have a great offense. Ole Miss doesn't have a great defense. Oregon has a great offense and when it is needed to be called upon, a great defense.
How much of this, and I'm going to answer the question myself too, but I want to lobby it back to you because you did mention this Oregon defense and how this Texas Tech offense stalled, obviously, goose egg. How much of this was a disservice for Texas, or how much of that is Texas Tech being off for 23 days?
It's very possible. And I wanted to kind of get on this because, as you can see, the only team that didn't have a first round bye is Indiana, or that one is Indiana. I'm curious as to what the organizations and the teams think about it, because we can obviously say that them being off for this long is a problem. But if at the end of the day, these coaches and teams are more in favor of still doing that, I don't see the problem. Because listen, last year we were all up in arms that the top 4 was the division champs. And that's the reason why they went 0-4. They went 1-3 in the bye this week, and it doesn't matter what conference champs are. So is it really conference champs, or is it because you're off for so many days? Or does it not even matter, and it's just been kind of a fluke, and these coaches and teams still want the extra days off?
I do kind of agree with this point. It's not a great defense, but it can be great at times. And when called upon, they've won some close games because of the defense. I'm gonna on the rest versus rust conversation, I'm gonna echo Nick Saban, who, as we have learned over the past month, should just absolutely be the president of all college football, and he should make all the rules and he should decide everything.
No, because then the SEC would have 10 teams every year in the college football playoff.
No, he's better than that because he wanted Notre Dame in too. So at least, well, you know what? I'll be in too, so I'll take it. He hated being off the month for the national championship game back in the format.
Yeah.
So I can't believe, especially with all of the Nick Saban disciples that we have coaching and the guys that I can't believe that they like that. I believe that they would like a week off, but I can't believe they would like multiple weeks off and get guys that out of football's here.
Then you got to figure something out, because like you are like, unless you are either going to have to expand it so that even the top teams play, or you're going to have to figure out a way to get them playing as soon as possible. But that means an extremely short week for some of these teams before them that don't get a bye.
This is going to be the excuse to make it 16 teams.
I agree. I absolutely. That's why I promoted 8. That's why I promoted 8 before 12, because you don't have to this bye week thing. And I will say though, this doesn't. I know it's college, so it's very different, but this doesn't affect NFL teams at all. You don't see a rust conversation nearly as much as you have these past 2 years in the NFL.
Yeah, everybody's, and we're going to talk about it. Everybody is trying to get that number 1 seed and have everybody come through there. A home field advantage is a big part of that as well. More of these teams would want
Maybe
that.
you do that until the semifinals.
Possibility, but I mean, I don't know if I'm breaking any news. Dan Patrick probably broke it first, but this will be the excuse to move to 16. Everyone plays round 1. Everyone is playing, and then we go listen, I agree, Coach Greg. I don't think it fixes anything,
so many
but I'm
teams,
just
man.
telling you what their excuse. This is going to be one of the excuses given on why we need to go to 16. All right, we got the 2 bad games out of the way. I mean,
the third one's also not a great game either.
But there was a statement made, and it was an upset around the country because no matter what anybody will try to tell you, even us, there's a reason teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, there's a reason they have Georgia. There's a reason they have that upper echelon status because when you say their name and they're in a big game, you automatically go, uh-oh. I mean, it is Alabama. And Indiana said, I don't give a okay? Indiana completely beat down on Alabama 38-3. Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza had more touchdown passes than incompletions. Shout out to former Notre Dame offensive lineman who led the Indiana offensive line in becoming the player or the players of the game there in the Rose Bowl. But Drew, there's no more doubting Indiana. I don't know how you were doing it after the Big Ten championship game. That was our turning point because that was on their regular season schedule, the team that we could actually say this is a legitimate top contender. I need to see how you match up. And in the close game that they won, it proved to me that Indiana was there. Then they did it in the first round. I'm sorry. Then they did it in the Big Ten championship game. Now they get to hear they play Alabama and just thump Alabama.
I mean, well, one, the only people that didn't think Indiana was legit was SEC fanboys that don't, think any other conference is worth any merit. I mean, I watched this game up until probably about the end of the third quarter when I went, okay, this game is pretty much over. The first drive from Indiana was you could tell the nerves were there, right? They weren't at home, or they weren't at home. They weren't at home, right? It was neutral field. They could tell they were kind of feeling out this Alabama team. They didn't want to get too, into it. And then they got their first defensive possession. Like they were first on defense, and they stopped Alabama, and they got them to punt. And you could tell everyone on the sideline went, "Okay,
yep.
We're good.
We belong."
And Ken, they from that point on until they kneeled out the game at the end of the game, they punted once.
Yeah.
This was a insanely dominant performance by Indiana. Again, like I said before, it shows how well-rounded this team is. And I know everyone can make the statement that Alabama maybe didn't deserve to be here. However, one, they beat the team that we all agree deserved to be there in Oklahoma. And two, this is a team in Alabama that, like you just said, regardless of, how up and down some years may be, almost consistently, even last year, when big games came, they stepped up. Even this year against Georgia. And so to beat Alabama this thoroughly in your first college football playoff game, your first appearance, it is one of those games that truly shows that Curt Cignetti is a coach that, regardless of the scenario, is going to have his team in the exact right mentality and method to win a football game.
This is what I love, and I'm gonna reference my own team here a lot. I just want to correct you, and I'm not sure if you were 100% wrong in what you were trying to say. Their first appearance this year, they were in the college football playoff last year.
That's what I meant.
They got beat by me. Here's what I love though. I love Curt Cignetti. Okay, I've said that I think for 17, 18 weeks now. Here's what I love, and this is what I love about college football. Last year, it was Marcus Freeman. The rise throughout the playoffs that showed you Notre Dame's back. This is the guy. I love that now, and we said a lot of people said it when we beat Indiana because it was a close game. Hey, watch out, Indiana's coming. And they've delivered. And now, throughout the Big Ten championship, and especially now to this Alabama guy, we have now anointed the next also great coach because there's always multiple ones. I know Nick Saban kind of dominated, but now we've kind of spread it out. We've got multiple great coaches, and this is the next guy up there, along with Kirby Smart and Marcus Freeman and Lane Kiffin, whether or not you like him or not. This is the next guy. Dan Lanning, I cannot not mention him. This is the next guy up on that level now, clearly. And if you don't get that, I don't know. You don't know ball. And this team is legit. And I hate to do this, I just worry, I'm going to say it. I just worry how long he's going to stay at a place like Alabama. Now, the thing with him is he built up James Madison, but then he moved to Indiana. In his mind, is Indiana enough to want to build it into a dynasty? Because here's the thing. Ole Miss used to not be good. Georgia had down years. You know what I mean? Oregon's had down years. Now they're national powers. You can do that in the Big Ten because you can, if you win the Big Ten, you're going to be there. Does he feel like Alabama or Indiana is still that program? I hope it is, because I'd love to see him there and love to see him stay and make that Indiana something where we go, oh yeah, Indiana will be good this year. I would love to see that. I just worry. However, regardless, this is the best team left.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's all about mentality because, right, like you have your Nick Sabans and your Kirby Smarts and your Lane Kiffins and your Urban Meyers even, where, yeah, they may have tried their hand at the NFL, but if we're talking about like where they are more comfortable in, where they want to stay and build teams, it's college football. However, obviously, we've seen plenty of examples of coaches that are on the cusp of making their college football team, wherever they're at, a 2, 3, 4, 5-year perennial college football playoff team, go to the NFL with an offer. Kent, you know this more than anyone. Your head coach is constantly staving off questions of, hey, you're having 3 different NFL teams ask you if you want a job. Are you want to go?
Yes,
he is. It all depends on what he wants and what he feels is his, where he is comfortable. And does he want to stay at Indiana and build it? Does he want to go to a massive school in college football and build it? Does he want to go to the NFL? The questions, honestly, I think are going to be answered either this offseason or the next one, because there is going to be at least half a dozen college football teams and at least 2 or 3 NFL teams checking and going, hey, do you want to get out of Indiana?
Now, and how much would the college football world hate me if he stayed at Indiana long enough for us to win? Marcus Freeman moves on to the NFL, which is where he will go, and then we take Cignetti from Indiana and bring him over to Notre Dame.
Wake up, Ken. I knew you were dreaming about this last night. You were like, Marcus Freeman walked off into the sunset with a natty in your mind. He went, all right, I'm going to the NFL. And then the next day you get a notification. Notre Dame signs Kurt Cignetti. And then you woke up.
Okay. First of all, never too late, Nady. Love you, Cuzzo. And then, yeah, Pops agreed with me, though. He is the new next guy. All right, let's get to the most entertaining game, clearly, of the weekend, which also brings up the most storylines once that it is over as well. Ole Miss, 39-34 over Georgia. A late field goal put them up, and then a wild scramble, crazy play at the end that only affected bettors happened. And it turns into 39-34. Georgia did the one thing that they couldn't do, Drew, and that's tried to get into a track meet with this dang Ole Miss offense, and you're not gonna win that game.
Yeah, I truly we talked about it where it's like if you were Georgia, you have to enforce your defense here because you are not going to outscore this Ole Miss team. We've seen it. And listen, they made it close. They had to come back late, but they left Ole Miss too much time, and Ole Miss came down and scored. Shout out Trinidad Chambliss. What an absolute amazing drive at the end there. But no, you're absolutely right. This Ole Miss team, we know we've said that they're a little lacking on defense, but they made plays when they needed to. The offense obviously carried for most of the game. And Ken, I want to bring up a point that you made 2 weeks ago where was it potentially the problem of Lane Kiffin that this team couldn't get over the hump? And I denied it, mostly because I thought that much of Lane Kiffin. In these past 2 weeks with all of the, and like I said, I don't know if this was correlated by him. I honestly, I think it was, is he going to go to the game? Is he not going to go to the game? Is he going to take the other coaches? Is he not going to take the assistant coaches? It has soured me so much on him that I'm looking at this Ole Miss team and hearing what they're saying and hearing what they're talking about him, how they left them out to dry. And I was also soured that he left and didn't coach in the first place.
Depending on who you believe.
Well,
because from his side, he says that he wanted to and they wouldn't let him. But keep rolling.
But from all of this, it has gotten me to a point where I can look at this Ole Miss team and say maybe he was holding them back. Maybe his own ego or even his play calling system wasn't getting the most out of his players. And so is it possible that this interim head coach is actually the real deal and is going to go somewhere because he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere, especially after this, and be successful? Absolutely. But it's also very possible that Lane Kiffin and his system hold back his players, because I know you said he is in that upper echelon of other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't won anything or been in enough college football playoffs to really say that he is in that upper echelon.
First of all, shout out to Raptors GM and player Morgan. Appreciate you. You so wanted to just say I was right, and then you dragged it on just so you didn't have to say it.
I expanded on it.
You did very well, as you did, as you always do. Okay. I criticized Ryan Day for it. Our own Rapids coach then put in head coaches shouldn't call plays. When I say that Cignetti is on that level, a lot of that isn't just me. That's a media thing. And Lane Kiffin, whether or not we agree, has been anointed as one of those guys.
Agree.
The difference between all of the rest of those guys on that list, Cignetti, Kirby Smart, Marcus Freeman,
Dan Lanning.
Dan Lanning is probably the second highest, but even he is a bit hands-off and allows his coordinators to roll. Lane Kiffin is the most hands-on of any of those guys. What a surprise, he hasn't won. Because when it gets tight, and this is the problem for Ryan Day, although it kind of seems to be an all-game thing.
And Brian Kelly.
And, oh, yes, absolutely, and Brian Kelly. When it gets tight, they get a little wonky and they make bad decisions. When it gets late in the game, you look over there and Lane's got the card up and Lane's calling the plays and Lane's too pumped up and Lane's not focused and Lane makes a bad call. And they've also gotten extremely unlucky, but he's put them in positions to be unlucky. Reference what I said a couple weeks ago when I'm talking about quarterbacks who can put you in a position to get lucky. I think Lane Kiffin is a coach that when he gets tight, puts his team in a position to be unlucky. I think it's 100%. Well, they also have a quarterback who's amazing and made great plays, but they put them in good positions that whole entire game. They know what that defense is. It is a bend and try to hold off what's going to go on defense while this offense is going to put up points. And that's what the coordinators did. Now, the problem now after the game, it's a whole old mess now. It has basically been reported that the reason Lane Kiffin let these guys coach into this Georgia game is there was an assumption that Georgia was going to thump Ole Miss and they weren't going to win this game. Now that they have, the transfer portal is open. All of the coaches that are supposed to be at LSU need to be with Lane Kiffin recruiting. And that's not even being harsh on Lane Kiffin. It's recruiting time. Coaches who are not in this bracket are recruiting. Every coach that lost is now recruiting. This is not a Lane Kiffin thing. So let's take that bias aside for a minute. Every coach is recruiting, but the team's still playing. And even some of the teams still playing are recruiting. So it's hard. And now Ole Miss is in a tough position where I need these coaches. And these coaches aren't just, hey, we're obligated now to be at LSU. It isn't just a favor anymore because we don't have anything to do right now. We're supposed to be there now.
I'm gonna take this down real quick.
There, it's fine.
No, because this is the problem I have with the current system, and we're not gonna go into 1,000 different directions here, even though I could. The issue is that one, we're allowing the transfer portal to happen during the college football playoff. We saw the Oregon cornerback enter the transfer portal after the game when he played in said game. I don't know how that works. I don't know what kind of sour grapes you had.
Right.
But and two, we are allowing, again, said coaches to leave and sign to programs during the season. And I get the first part, right? Even though the first part with the students is you want them to sign, you want them to get enrolled. And let's stop kidding ourselves, right? And I'm not saying that some of these guys go for degrees and have stuff outside because that's what we want to promote, right? You're telling me that Big 10, SEC, Big 12 schools can't go, we'll get you enrolled. We'll have a late enrollment for you. We'll get you set up in your class. You're telling me that can't happen? You know what I mean? And secondly, oh no, you missed 2 weeks of recruiting, because you transferred schools. That's going to happen regardless. If you enter a school, half those players are transferring out, and you have to reevaluate and reshift your focus. It's not like you're going in like the old days, right? You have a new head coach. I saw it. It's not like you're a new head coach before the transfer portal, right? And you're going, oh my God, I can't recruit all these freshmen now because I'm a month behind. If the transfer portal doesn't open until you are allowed to change schools, you're not losing any time. Unless you're meddling before the transfer portal, which shouldn't be doing that anyways.
So, I'm going to push back on only one thing. If I'm in a wide receiver's living room, he's going to want to talk to my offensive coordinator and ask him some questions. So, or if I'm interviewing the best linebacker in the country, he's going to want to talk to my defensive coordinator. So
that's why we wait until after the national championship. You're not allowed to leave yet.
There's a rule in the NFL. You're not allowed to talk to any of the coaches that are still playing in the playoffs. There's nothing stopping us or Nick Saban from putting this rule in and saying you're not allowed to talk to coaches until after they have lost in the college football playoffs. That's it. So that would have eliminated this Lane Kiffin conversation. Then within that rule, like you said, all you need to do is the portal opened this week. All you literally have to do is push this thing back like 3 weeks. We're not talking about 2 months, 3 months. We're literally talking a matter of weeks. You could open it up the day after the national championship game. We would literally go from Monday night's national championship game to Tuesday portal. College football would own that week again. Instead of us having the national championship game and then being like, hey, so long, goodbye, we're on to the NFL playoffs, we would go right into Tuesday and go, portal's open.
And also think about it this way, right? Because I was just out of college. Classes don't start till next week. This week they're off. Next week they start. Next week is syllabus week. You think any athletes care about? I didn't care about syllabus week. You think they care about syllabus week? No. So if we're being completely honest, if it's 3 weeks away, you're missing 1 week of classes. One
syllabus week.
I'm not saying, but you're missing 1 week of classes if you transfer. One.
Right.
maybe 2 if it takes a little long to get the paperwork together. You're not missing anything you can't catch up on or get a tutor for, like they don't have a million tutors in every single college football, system. Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
All right. Breathe. We're going to take a 30-second break. I don't have a commercial. I only have a graphic. What graphic do I have, Drew? What am I putting up on the board? You don't even know this yet, so this is going to be
I have no idea what's going on.
That's fine. It's going to be a good one for you. I am going to unveil on the Straub Bro Sports Show this year's 2026 Cuyahoga Falls Rapid schedule. Give us 30 seconds, and we'll be back. All right. Well, I appreciate you putting up that. It's been a while since we've done a graphic like this. The 26th season is upon us. I'm pumped. January, since the beginning of January, we've been able to start signing guys. Shout out to all my guys who have signed in already. Shout out to my vets coming back. I cannot wait to sit down with all of our players again. You ducked out of the way. I will be sitting down. I got a lot of guys to interview. We're going to get started ASAP. But yeah, I'm excited to be back in Rapid season again. And I'm excited to be back up in the booth with my guy too.
All right.
Now, before we get to should we break the news or should we hit the NFL and then break the news?
Let's hit the NFL and then we'll break the news.
All right. Although this is hilarious. This is hilarious. Jason Garrett interviewing for
Let's go. Hey, listen, man's done a lot this year. He did Thursday Night Football for the first time this year. He's now interviewing with the Titans, although that would be such a bad idea. There are so many actually okay head coaching candidates right now that they could go after. That's not Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, go be a defensive coordinator somewhere.
Absolutely. All right. We are not going to talk about every one of these games. We are only going to talk about the ones that mattered. So we start on Saturday. Buccaneers, 16-14 winners over the Carolina Panthers. Put the Bucks in the lead position. However, it all came down to the game on Sunday. Whoever won the Falcons and Saints game was going to decide which of Carolina and Tampa Bay got into the playoffs. Had Carolina won, they would have taken care of this. But because they lost, it created the three-way tie. If New Orleans won, Tampa Bay would have gotten to the playoffs. However, the Atlanta Falcons show up when you don't need them. 19-17 winners over the New Orleans Saints, putting the Carolina Panthers into the playoffs.
I mean, shout out to the Panthers. Even though it was, they didn't get it, they didn't do it. They had to have some help. It's always great to see, a team that has been struggling for a while make it to the playoffs, regardless of how they make it. So shout out to them. This game was miserable, and it's just because the weather was so bad.
Yeah.
The 16-14 was, I think, just due because neither of these offenses keep a footing for half the game.
Hold on. For the record, I looked up at my TV at one point and went, why is my picture fuzzy? And realized it was the rain.
It was so bad. However, that didn't stop Baker Mayfield from making a play that, if it was Patrick Mahomes, would have been talked about, I think, on the nightly news for like a week. That was incredible. He willed his team to a win. However, the issue is you lost like 4 in a row and couldn't get the job done. So shout out to Carolina.
Yep. Shout out, and we're going to talk a whole lot about Carolina on Thursday. But yes, shout out to Carolina. Yeah, you know what? Too many weeks we came in here and talked about how the Buccaneers lost a game that they shouldn't have lost, and that's what happens to you. You put the game in another team's hand. I will say, New Orleans is going to be dangerous if they can put some guys around Tyler Shuck, because I like what I see out that kid. I really do.
Clean up the turnovers.
Yeah,
and he's going to be a real good talent.
I agree. The other Saturday game did have some implications, not as well, depending on how big. Drew thinks this is a massive one. I'm not so sure. However, nonetheless, Seattle 13-3 over San Francisco, locking up the number 1 seed for Seattle. The road through the NFC has to go through Seattle. I think they need it because I think Sam Darnold is mid as hell. But that defense is legit as hell, so it really don't matter at this point. They're the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I know we have always been critical of Sam Darnold. Last year, they didn't get it done and let the Lions get the number 1 seed last year. This year, they get it done, stop a on fire San Francisco 49ers team to hold to only 3 points. And so, listen, I know that, like I said, we're all not confident in Sam Darnold, but we've talked about it time and time and again. This Seattle team, their key was having home field throughout the entirety of the playoffs. They got it. They have an amazing defense. This is a team that maybe on paper isn't the most talented team in the NFC in the playoffs, but I think has the best chance of making it to an NFC championship game because of their schedule, because of being at home, and because of how great that defense is. 1 or 2, depending on if you like the Broncos more or not.
Wow, I'm not sure if that's a hot take, but you're giving an early one on Wednesday or on Tuesday, and I like it. The bigger news for me if you're San Francisco is the fact that Fred Warner's replacement went down as well. So that's going to be even more guys out on defense for a San Francisco defense that's already beat up. However, they did still hold Seattle to 13 points. We'll move on to Sunday. I'm just going to give this little tidbit. I'm going to just throw this in there, and it's kind of your fault because you alerted me to it, and I went over to find it. Riley Leonard, former Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard, went out and had him a nice little ball game. I know they lost to the Texans 38-30, but still, shout out to my guy Riley Leonard. I'm going to just say this. I ain't never seen him throw the ball like that. Whew, he has some touch on those passes. Yeah, loved it.
I will say, one, I absolutely will do because I pointed this out to you because he was having a great game, and 2, you can do that because I'm going to have my shout out here too. Alec Pierce, first season with 1,000 yards right before free agency. Boy's going to go get paid.
And shout out to your guy for catching my guy's first touchdown. All right, Notre Dame to Cincinnati, little connection there. I'll absolutely love it. Yes, absolutely. Throw my clovers in the chat, please. All right, and then there's more, I guess, to talk about than we necessarily wanted to, but we'll keep this one short and sweet too. Shout out to the Browns in a victory, but more importantly, Myles Garrett, the NFL single season sack record holder. He got it done. I will say this: Joey Burrow's been very, very banged up this year. The last thing he wants to do is take a monster hit from Myles Garrett in the middle of the cold. I don't blame him. Myles Garrett had the sack. Joe Burrow just said, I'm only taking a small hit. He didn't lay down like Brett Favre. So shout out to Myles Garrett. I'm going to let you address the people, and then I'll address some of the haters because I got some words for some people.
No, so yeah, some quick hits. One, I think Michael Strahan put it the best in terms of he is the record for 17 games, Strahan's for 16, because they don't talk about the 14-game leader in comparison to Strahan because that's just what it is. You had different amount of games. It's also the reason why I wanted him to get it against Pittsburgh because it would have been 16, but they decided, they needed to bank on a missed field goal to make the playoffs. Secondly, against a rookie. Secondly,
I'm hating from outside the club. You can't even get in.
No. Secondly, we're gonna have a Straub bro of the week. We don't have it anymore. Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase, Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase, being upset that they had a moment and like the refs stopped the game for it. that's a record holder that's been in the record for 15 years.
I did tell you to let me address the haters, but go ahead.
But like, so one, shut up. Two, the way they went about it either were such garbage reasons. One, Jamar Chase saying, "Oh, it'd be like if I had 10 catches." No, it's not. If you would have broken the single season catch or receiving record, we would have stopped the game for you to celebrate. It's what happens. Two, Zach Taylor saying, "Oh, it ruined the momentum of the drive." Dog, both these teams are out of the playoffs. It's the final game of the year. Who cares? Shut up.
Shout out to Miles. Shout out to his mom and dad who were in the stands as well. Michael Strahan, shut up. Michael Strahan, shut up.
I get it. I get what he's saying. I truly do.
No. No. Okay. I don't care. We're never gonna remember you as the 16 game single season sack record. We're gonna remember Myles Garrett. Cry about it some more. Cry about it some more. Yes. First of all, like I said, he gifted him a sack that he was getting no matter what. He cleared the lineman. He was coming for your quarterback. He was going to get murdered. He decided to just get assaulted. That's still a clean one for me. To Jamar Chase and Zach Taylor. No. I'm a Cowboys fan. When Emmett broke the record, we stopped the game. We gave him the ball. We put up the banner. We let his family come on the field. Moose came down from the booth. Like, we did a whole thing. This is what gets to happen when you're a Hall of Famer. Here's the other thing. Like, if this was just a guy, we may not have stopped the game like this. That's a Hall of Famer. He deserves the moment. We don't get these very often in football, damn it. Allow them to happen. Get over it. And here's the other thing, Bengals, line up and run the damn play then. If you really want to be about it, force the issue, run up to the line, try to put the ball down, snap the ball. However, like you said, this is a battle for draft position that the Bengals won the game on. Shut up. I don't want to hear it from either of you two teams. I'm not you two teams, but I don't want to hear it from everybody. Give Myles his flowers. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's in the Mount Rushmore of pass rushers. All that. Crown the man. Give him his flowers at 30 years old, because as Strahan did point out very nicely, he got more sacks over the age of 30 than he did before. So the best years could still be ahead for Myles as that defense continues to get better and they keep going. The news surrounding that also, though, there you go, Drew. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski last week as well. You did it. We did it. It's over.
So,
Andrew Berry's still around.
I'm being very brief here because I don't want this to devolve into a Brown segment.
Thank you.
One, it was time for both parties to split. Yeah. I don't believe Stefanski was the problem, but it was time for it. They reached the end of the road for that.
So we've come.
However, Andrew Berry saved himself with this draft because I will say he had some good draft picks, but the issue was his previous drafts and his signings have been god awful. And so we'll see how long he lasts. As for a future, I have some ideas in mind, but they're not set in stone. The only thing that is set in stone that I truly believe in my heart, keep Jim Schwartz at all costs. If he wants to be a defensive coordinator, tell every head coach coming in he has to stay as a defensive coordinator. If he wants to be head coach, you know what? You could do a lot worse. Make him the head coach. I can't say enough good things about how he turned that defense around the instant he came in. If he leaves, we're even more in shambles than we are currently.
I have to lean on my college program for this bit of conversation because there's no way in hell I could touch on my pro team with this. My only issue, or no, not my issue. My pro for elevating Schwartz would be my Notre Dame defense continues to roll under Marcus Freeman because the coach who comes in and coaches the defense follows his philosophy. I think that would be great because the defensive guy that comes in works with shorts, runs his philosophy. There you go. I think first of all, on the field, the product was awful. I know the roster is bad. I know he doesn't have full control of that. The other guy who stayed did, but whatever.
Yes.
The problem for me is long term. I don't know what relationship Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield had, but they threw him out of town and they bring in Deshaun Watson. It's pretty damn clear that Kevin Stefanski didn't want Deshaun Watson, but the front office wanted Deshaun Watson. So the Browns got Deshaun Watson. Then we go into this draft, and it's pretty much well set in stone. Regardless of who wants to claim Shador as who they wanted or as who wanted him, Kevin Stefanski wanted Dylan Gabriel, and that didn't work. Then he went out there week after week, and I called it because that's what I was watching. I was watching a coach who clearly didn't believe in the quarterback that he had there. At some point, regardless of, hey, I want a different guy at quarterback, when you're beefing that much upstairs with the guy who pays the bills, you're going to have to go at some point.
I agree. I think that's why Barry stayed, is because he was saying okay to all these things and stuff like that. We'll have an hour-long conversation during the close to the draft when we have to decide if the Browns pick a quarterback or not. But yeah, that's a story for another time.
All right. Packers lose to the Minnesota Vikings 16-3. They need Jordan Love back. Shout out to the Jaguars, 41-7 over the Tennessee Titans. They lock up the division title. Congratulations to them.
See what happens when they trade their draft pick to me. They get really good.
Absolutely. My Cowboys went out and got stomped out by the Giants, as I told you they would a couple of weeks ago. I told you that's the game we would lose for sure. 34-17, just improving that draft position. Rams over the Cardinals. Cardinals fired their head coach. They should fire everyone. Raiders over the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders have let go of 76-year-old Pete Carroll. Surprised that didn't work out. Washington beats down on the Eagles, who really didn't play anybody. 24-17. The New England Patriots take care of business 38-10. The Lions sneak up and play a good game and beat the Chicago Bears 19-16. Not that mattered. The Broncos 19-3 over the Herbertless Chargers. The Bills played the. Go ahead.
Just Broncos luck up the 1 seed with that win.
Yes. The Bills played the Jets. Then we get to Sunday night.
Oh my God.
The Steelers survive 26-24 over the Ravens after the rookie kicker for the Ravens missed a field goal. I got to give a shout out to Tirico. That whole little setup for that call is amazing. A rookie kicker. Justin Tucker obviously was there last year, like the second or top clutch kicker of all time in the sport, either behind or in there with Vinatieri. But they couldn't get it done. The Steelers left the door wide open for that. And coming out of that game, yes, there is the breaking news. The Ravens have fired Jim Harbaugh. Where do you want to go?
Jim Harbaugh, if you have some bad blood on the Ravens, you can go to the new Browns. We currently have a head coaching position open.
The original Browns.
Well, they're the old Browns, we're the new Browns kind of thing. We have a head coaching position available. Just kind of give us a call, or we'll call you. Actually, we'll call you. And even if you are loyal, I'm sure a couple of zeros will change that loyalty. Please, and then please.
That would be amazing. Like I would love. I would take him in a heartbeat. I know we're doing this whole Schottenheimer thing, but
I don't mind Schottenheimer.
I'll take him in a heartbeat. I want him to go to Cleveland. Like I'll be excited, okay, if he goes there. And yes, and Mom says Stefanski's the new head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. That's surprising. However, I'm gonna reference a conversation that we had mid to late season where I had read some things and learned some things that this whole relationship between Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson had soured, and they're not on the same page. I think the ownership got the go ahead from Lamar Jackson that he wants to be in Baltimore, but I don't think he was staying in Baltimore if Harbaugh was still his coach. There's been a complete disconnect in. I mean, the timeline is crazy, and I wish I could reference every part of the video I watched. Jim Harbaugh has been wrong about pretty much every one of Lamar Jackson's injury timelines. And not just wrong by, I maybe thought it was a day here and it's a day
John,
later.
we keep saying Jim, by the way, John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh. I apologize.
Well, I said it too.
One of them. The timelines are way off. Lamar refuting basically directly what his coach is saying. There's a disconnect there. And they chose the quarterback. They chose the franchise MVP quarterback over the coach.
And hey, listen, I mean, the last time this happened, it was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and they chose the coach, and that was the wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very possible this is the right choice, but it's also very possible this is the wrong choice.
Ooh.
I mean, let's truly think about it, right? Lamar Jackson, insanely talented, has some limitations, especially in his throwing game, especially late in the game, trying to force things, maybe being a little inaccurate late in games. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has been with Baltimore since 2008, right? That was year, if my memory serves me correctly, 2 of Flacco, maybe 3. He has always had a top quarterback. Joe Flacco, while not amazing, was definitely in tier 2 at the height of his career. And then they get a tier 1 quarterback in Lamar Jackson. John Harbaugh, at least in the front office's mind, potentially was being carried by a good to great quarterback and a great defense. Because if we're being completely honest, right, that the entirety of his career, he had one of the best defenses in a span ever. And then the year that he loses his defensive coordinator to Seattle, they are pretty bad defensively and then don't make the playoffs. And so I think Nate's a very big point here. He may have hit his ceiling with the Ravens, but where is the ceiling somewhere else? And I think that's the big question mark that I think other teams are going to have.
I'm going to push this conversation right with the Browns conversation, a conversation that will push closer to the draft as well. But, I mean, breaking news, the Ravens' job is open. Lamar Jackson there for somebody to go coach. Thank God Marcus Freeman is already committed. We're gonna talk about them on Thursday. Obviously, we're gonna preview them heavy. However, just so you do know, if you don't already know, and this haven't been hammered down your head, in the NFC, obviously the Broncos have the number 1 seed in the bye, but we've got Bills at Jags, Chargers at Patriots, and Texans at Steelers. Some great matchups there. As I said, we're gonna dissect these all on Thursday, and then that was the AFC. I called it the NFC. Then on the NFC side, the Seahawks, as we said, have the number 1 seed and the bye. We've got Rams at Panthers. We've got Packers and Bears, which is just amazing. And then we've got San Francisco at Philadelphia. A good game there. But Bears and Packers 3, I'm absolutely here for that. I love that. But as I said, we will talk more about those on Thursday. Drew, I did do a little bit of work for us. I will update real quickly. Our NBA Eastern Conference standings, Pistons with a big win last night over the Knicks. They remain the number 1 seed. Cleveland Cavaliers sitting just 3 games above 500 in the 8th seed right now. Can we make a trade? I will say this before we talk about the Cavaliers. I do also want to mention the Atlanta Hawks sitting there at number 10. Trae Young is working on a potential deal with the front office. They are working together to move him out of Atlanta. Washington has jumped to the front as the number 1 suitor, which I know for a city point, I know guys love to play in Washington, but for a basketball standpoint, I absolutely don't understand that move whatsoever. But that's the big guy on the market. Should the Cavaliers try to call the Atlanta Hawks and go get Trae Young?
That would make no sense. You
We
don't
need
need a
another
ball dominant.
star.
You don't need a ball dominant guard. I'm sorry.
We need
You don't
something.
need one.
We need
I
something.
agree. Here's what I'm gonna say. We can't play the injury card forever, and I agree with that. However, 2 things that I think are very, very telling of this season so far. One,
we suck.
Max Strus just announced. They were just announced that Max Strus will be out another month.
Yeah,
recovering from his foot injury, so he hasn't played a game yet. And 2, out of the big 4 of the Cavs, right? Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. The only player to not have a 30-point game this season, Evan Mobley. And so we talk about Garland being a little bit underwhelming. We talk about Allen, in big games kind of falling away. Evan Mobley for this team to succeed needs to be the number 2. And right now he's feeling like a 3 or a 4. And I think that is the biggest problem that is hindering this team, is that Evan Mobley seems to have kind of had a very, very slow beginning of the season. Now, if he turns it around, I think this Cav team can shoot up to a top 4 position. They're only 2 games out right now. There needs to be an urgency to get him going, because I think that's your big problem here.
That is a great point. Subtract 2 losses, add 2 wins, or 3. We're in the 3rd position, 4th position, and we're not even having this conversation. We're saying we're back. We don't have any shooters. Which is also causing us to not be able to use him like last year. Nobody has been a bigger Evan Mobley fan than me. I've said this guy was I said he is supposed to be what we thought AD could be, what we thought Anthony Davis could be. He ain't there, and he ain't close. I don't know if it's there. Maybe he is just meant to be a 3rd or 4th option. The problem is this team doesn't have a 2 option right now. Not a legitimate one that will get you through the playoffs. So I'm telling you right now, why not? Because these championship windows are very small. Why not take the rest of the pieces that we've got, give them to Donovan Mitchell, call Milwaukee, and try to get Giannis and give them Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. And let's be done with what we now know isn't going to win a championship. Wake up.
So I wouldn't say I'm for it. I am more for it than I was when we last had this conversation. I'm not saying I'm for it though, because I was like a 5%, now I'm at maybe a 20% that I would like it. My biggest issue is it's so hard to break up a core like that and then continue to succeed, because the chemistry still has to be there regardless of your star power. You still listen. Damian Lillard and Giannis were together, and they also had Brook Lopez, who was having the back half career that players dream of having.
Game was done. Donovan Mitchell's not done.
But what I'm saying is there still needs to be chemistry between the players, and if you don't, you're still going to struggle. Look at Kyrie and Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. It doesn't always work out. And so my thing is, if we see that Evan Mobley is not getting there, even when the shooters come back, I'd say we have this conversation. The issue is that, yes, is he not, the early Dwight Howard or Anthony Davis that we expected him to be? Just because he can't be a 2 without other people around him? Yes. However, that doesn't mean when this squad is full strength that he isn't the second best player on the floor.
I understand all of that.
He's just not as versatile as we wanted him to be.
I understand this, that we don't have the shooters. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the comment I was looking for. I understand that we already have a ball dominant guard when I talk about Trae Young. I understand this is the sentiment among 90% of probably of the Cavaliers fans that they don't agree with
Dad
me
with ball knowledge, by the way.
Dad knows his ball. They are
Let's
playing in
go.
the zone. And we don't have the shooting. I get that we don't have some of the shooting pieces, where is our defense gone? Was the key there. I understand what all of you are saying, but I need you to listen to me for a second. This isn't football. This isn't college football. This isn't soccer, which stick around because we're going to have one of the funniest soccer segments that we've ever had in the history of this show. So please stay tuned because we have something that has never happened to the both of our teams, and we get to talk about it together.
It's insane.
I get what everybody's saying, but this isn't hockey. This isn't the rest of those sports. Stars win championships in the NBA. And even if you try to bring up Oklahoma City, they have a superstar. Shea is a superstar. Jokic is a superstar. LeBron was a superstar. Curry is a superstar. Superstars win championships. The Cavs don't have one. You know what your selling point to Donovan Mitchell and the rest of those guys that are left are? On the chemistry, I'm bringing you a superstar. Figure your chemistry out because the guy that you're playing with does all of those things. Maybe not the shooting.
I will say.
But does the rest of it.
I will say. If we can, here's where it's not likely, but here's where I would be okay with it. You don't have to put Mobley in. I'm all for it. The issue is you probably do, and I'm not going to be unrealistic. I'm not going to say, oh, this is the trick. No, it's most likely going to be Mobley. And like I said, that's why I'm 20%. I'm 100% if you don't include Mobley. If you give him,
then I'm sorry.
If you give him Garland and Allen and a couple picks, and they're okay with it, sure. But I don't think it's going to work. I'm just saying I'm 100% without Mobley. I'm 20% with Mobley.
I will just say the problem with that is, especially in this NBA, you're not getting one of those guys.
Agree.
Without
agree.
Those guys.
And like I said, it's a. Now, I wouldn't say a hypothetical. It's I'm all in if X doesn't happen, but X has to happen for it to happen. That's kind of what I'm saying.
My only counter to that would be Mitchell doesn't mind sharing the spotlight. However, the other thing is when it's two guys, they usually don't seem to mind. It's when you add the third guy that the third guy usually has to take that sidekick role. Just for the record, to just shoot over to the Western Conference.
It's close now.
That is another point too. The Cavaliers can also not trade 2-for-1s. All of their trades have to be basically straight up.
Second ceiling.
These are all pipe dreams at this point. But let me throw the comments off for a second. Oklahoma City came back down to earth. They now are only 4 games ahead of the Spurs. That is just disgusting that those are the two top teams because they should just get to play in the finals because I want to see them for 7 games. I know we'll get to see it in the playoffs, but still, the Nuggets, Rockets, the Lakers. LeBron is still ridiculous. I don't care what you haters say. To being able to do this in year 2700 and at the age of 54 is just ridiculous. Golden State starting to fall down. Memphis moving up into a play-in position. Good to see them playing well. Although I love Ja so much, he just got to wrinkle it in a little bit, buddy. Stop with the gun celebrations, please, man. I love you. This is my guy. Golden State. I have a question for you. Is there a move to be made because this ain't working? Draymond's throwing temper tantrums. He needs to stop doing a podcast during the season and beefing with my man Kenyon Martin, who was a dog, by the way, and is better than Draymond. I'm going to get involved in that beef as well. Kenyon Martin is better than Draymond Green. I don't care. Absolutely. Is Golden State done?
You trade Draymond away. I think you're better. And I know that was a hater take a couple years ago. It's a true take. It's a true take now. Listen, he was aggravating even to his own team at sometimes, but the defense and the rebounding was there. It's very much he was Dennis Rodman-esque, where it's like, yeah, he would get under everybody's skin, even his own team, but the play made up for it. His legs are done. His legs are done. He can't keep up anymore. You gotta get rid of him while you can.
So, yeah, and Ray is absolutely right too. Steve Kerr's been losing his mind lately too, and I would be too, trying to deal with Draymond. So here's
who am I thinking of? Lakers head coach.
Yeah. So it was JJ Redick.
Oh my God.
So what you're saying is Draymond needs to go to a contender
to
refresh himself.
Absolutely.
And Golden State
needs where he needs to go.
Scoring.
You know where he needs to go?
Hold on. Draymond for Darius Garland straight up. Let's do it.
You know where he needs to go? He needs to go to the Charlotte Hornets or Washington Wizards, because that's the only team that would go, maybe we can get something out of them. Or
pair him with Trae Young in Washington, and there you go.
The issue is, right, is like you have these when these guys get older, right, they obviously are going to take on a veteran role. Think you're like Iguodala's and your Richard Jeffersons and your Channing Frys and stuff like that, where it's like maybe they were a starter, but now, right, like they're there for the chemistry and to give you a couple solid minutes. Draymond is not going to give you either. Draymond is going to get 4 fouls in 12 minutes and beef with his own players on the bench.
Don't drag this out. We don't need to do Draymond.
What I'm saying, the issue is that Draymond doesn't have the charm or the old head mentality that's going to boost the team. He's going to bring a team down.
The problem with having this show with the engineer on is he always thinks that he has to break my jokes down into serious points. I was just joking. My last shout out NBA, Cooper Flag can ball. I'm glad they moved him out of the point guard position, letting the kid show his natural talents. And
a team that needs to trade for somebody else. Hey, yeah. Honestly,
though, Kyrie's not back yet. Kyrie hasn't been.
You know who'd be good? Chris Paul.
I don't know what Chris Paul's doing, but yeah, that would not be bad. Pair him up with Kyrie too, and Cooper Flag and AD. Get the gang in there. I like it. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Stick with us, please, because as I said, this is going to be one of the funniest, best footy segments that we have ever had. And I'll deliver it myself on the promise, but I know Drew's gonna come strong too. Stick with us. We'll be back in a minute after our shout out from Ani's.
Today I want to talk to you about Ani's Army Foundation. Started by Mark and Lynn Meyer to honor their daughter Annika, Ani's Army Foundation was formed to raise money for the research of medulloblastoma tumors and other pediatric cancers, while making a positive impact on the community and helping those families in need. Here on the website, anisarmy.org, you can follow Ani's story, a story of strength and the love that her family has with her and she has with them as she fights this battle. Here on the website, if you can, please donate via Venmo, credit card, PayPal, cash, or check. Any donation is loved and any donation is appreciated. Thank you.
All right, we're back on the Straub Sports Show, and it's time to deliver on the promise. Drew, yep, get the comments back in. It's time for some footy. And for the first time in the history of the Straub Sports Show, we both have to talk about the same thing. Not because we played a game together, or not because we played against each other, not because of a transfer between our teams, but because this week, breaking as soon as both of us woke up on our respective days, both Chelsea and Manchester United have relieved their managers of their duties.
So, crazy that we get to both talk about this. But I think even crazier is, so mine was, I woke up New Year's Day to this information, which was amazing. You obviously woke up to it a couple days later. However, the score lines for the weekend is also what makes it really funny. And we're going to put it up here now because they're the only two games that matter. Because one, New Year's Day was before these games, right? And so I fire my manager, Enzo Maresca, this whole debacle of back and forth between Enzo not getting the players, or the players that he wants in the summer, and then not being able to bring them back right away because of the medical team, and then the club not liking that he was talking to Manchester City after they wouldn't give him a new raise and it's his extension, yada yada, all this drama, all this comes out, and I go, oh my God, we have to play Manchester City at the weekend. What the hell? What did I do to the football gods to piss him off so much? And you know what? The first 45 minutes, I was like, yep, 1-0 Manchester City. They dominated the first half. Absolutely disgusting. It was terrible. And then in the 94th minute, Enzo Fernandez somehow gets the third rebound of his shot and tips it in to draw Manchester City. And Ken, I have to say, that made this whole saga. That made Brandon Sorsby committing to Texas Tech. That made the Cavs losing. That made Paul Dolan and Chris Antonetti doing nothing in free agency. That meant the Browns firing Kevin Stefanski and not firing Andrew Barry. That made that all go away. It didn't matter. When Enzo jumped into the stands and was celebrating with the Chelsea fans on the – nothing else mattered, Ken.
I dig.
Nothing else mattered. And you know what? I'm back in. I'm back in. It's like, if for people that play golf, it's like when you suck for 17 holes and you hit that drive on the 18th and it lands right on the green. You go, all right, I'm fully back in. I'm coming back tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait to break out my Christmas butter. So before I ask you any questions, let's just go to the complete flip side and go to my weekend. Okay. So they fire his coach. He goes on to have this amazing draw. All is right again in Chelsea. And we'll get to your new manager. We'll get to all that. Then we get to Monday or Tuesday. I don't even remember at this point. It was Monday. Manchester United go out. We give up a great goal from the American Brendan Aronson, who has just completely rebounded his career at Leeds after being sent out at loan. Absolutely. A great run through, track down the ball, great finish. We were able to pull one back, draw the game. And then my former coach, Ruben Amorim, goes into a press conference and decides to say that all of the people up above him need to do their jobs, and then after 18 months, we'll be gone. Well, congratulations. You didn't make it 24 hours. Literally hours after that press conference, he was relieved of his duties as manager of Manchester United. From what I'm reading out of my reports and my people that I follow and believe in, it was very much at the top. Sir Jim Radcliffe was very, very unhappy with the comment, and decided, and not necessarily by himself, but pushed it and wanted Ruben Amorim gone. And by the morning, he was gone. So the complete opposite of what you got going on, because now we're back into a shuffle. Darren Fletcher is going to take over. We're going to do the same thing that we have done after every time that we have fired a manager, and that is go grab somebody who used to play for Manchester United that's somewhere as a coach in the youth ranks and give them the job. There was some reports of bringing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back for the rest of the year. I don't even know. But right now, Darren Fletcher will take over the reins. He's one of our U17 coaches, or he's our U17 coach. And Johnny Evans is back at the club to assist. So we're just doing what we do and just getting the game back together. Names like Thomas Tuchel and De Zerbi, even Maresca from Chelsea, have been named as potential candidates for the Manchester United job. I'm going to ask myself the question, Ken, who do you want Manchester United to hire? Andrew, I have no effing idea.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna get into this before we talk about my situation, because I think this is it's a both of us problem. Because I think the disconnect between the managers we are hiring and the top is the exact same, and I truly believe it is what it is. And I think I'm not saying this selfishly. I'm saying this because you are as big as you are. It affects me more, and this is the fact of you have American businessmen as your top, and they are running it like an American sports team. And the issue with that,
Well, Sir Jim
Well-
Radcliffe has taken over, and they do have
yes,
the control of the operation. So we do
And I
have
think
an
that's why-
Englishman there.
and I think the issue is that, and it especially goes for me, and obviously you can speak on this for your own self, is that our top brass want a coach, and no top manager in the world wants to be a coach. And whether that is having say in what players you want to buy in the summer and the transfer windows, when you can play your players when they come back from injury, how you set up your team, what is being said in the press, and what statements are being made. That is the major issue that is with this club, with our clubs. And while you have still been able to somewhat get bigger names at some times, even with that, that was the massive outspoken thing from top managers as to why they do not want the Chelsea job, and why we now have taken and gotten the head coach from our sister club, or honestly little sister club, Strasbourg, who has only coached Hull City, Strasbourg, and Derby County, and is going to basically be a yes man in this system. And so I'm going to end kind of my thing by saying I understand the vision that the club wants to go with, right? We aren't PSG. We aren't Real Madrid. We aren't City. We don't have the money to we don't have, not even you. We don't have the money to spend senseless amounts of money until it works. So we have to be smart with how we spend and what we do. I absolutely understand that. And you don't want to spend on veterans until the coach you have, you're in a position where all you need is veterans. I get it. But stripping managers of the power that they have had in soccer since the inception is only going to leave you with bad results when you have coaches, basically, that don't know how to hold a locker room together.
I want to give a shout out to our cousin Nate. He's decided to pick a Premier League team. He's decided to go with Everton. That ties into his Packers. Yeah, it ties into his Packers love about being a fans club. Yeah, well, he's learned very much.
Sorry, bud. It's like being a Dortmund fan. You're just like, oh.
He asked me a question because we had mentioned your coach getting fired, and mine too. And he asked, well, how much control does a soccer coach have? And I said, that's the difference. I said a proper football manager has his hands everywhere. He goes to the club hierarchy. I want you to sign Erling Haaland. They go sign Erling Haaland. I want go get Bruno Fernandes. They go get Bruno. This is what happens. They have direct hands-on with all of the aspects of the club. Yes, there are sporting directors who oversee some of that stuff, but at the end of the day, your coach comes to you and says, I want this guy. You go get that guy. If you can't get that guy, you come back to him and go, hey, what was your second choice? I don't have a second choice. Okay, we're going back to try. Or, all right, go get him. The problems at Chelsea are, from what we've been told, what's been leaking, is that he had no control. He barely had control over substitutions. He barely had control over transfers. He barely had control over anything. So the problem for Chelsea now is this Americanized system that Chelsea now has in their brass better pay off, because you're not going to get a top manager leading this way. Now I'm in more despair because we're still in a bit rebuild progress. The only nice part at Manchester United is because we have Sir Jim Radcliffe in charge, and we do have the sporting because we've Englished the club back up a bit. There's gonna be some more freedom from the manager. The problem came down for Ruben Amorim is the results stopped on the field every time they even started to sputter to a go. I know we sit 6th. We should be 4th. Because of the team that we have this year, there is no doubt that we should be in the Champions League spot this year. He has refused to tailor the team to his system. And at this point, if they didn't give you the transfer window that you wanted to rebuild your team, I'm gonna go, The biggest thing we said last year is I needed some goal scorers. Well, they went out and got you 3 in Sesko, in Bueno, and in in Cunha. They got you goal scorers. Now I know they haven't all been producing all at once, but they got you that. They upgraded as best as they could. Aiden Heaven has been an absolute heaven sent defender. You've got guys there. You've gone out Ruben Amorim and complained and said that there are dark days coming. This team's not ready. This club's not ready. This club needs an overhaul. You're the one who's criticized the academy players week in, week out and wonder why they're not performing for you. You've done this. You had control and you didn't perform. I don't know where we go now. I do really, really like and find it funny. All of the Manchester United fans and all of the commenters said, give the job to Roy Keane and Gary Neville because of all the comments they make about them. I think that would be hilarious. But nonetheless,
see what they can do.
I don't know what we're going to do.
Hey, listen, neither do I. Obviously, we'll see how my new manager comes, and we'll see what you do. But for now, we will see what happens. Ken, I did this just for you because we're wallowing. I updated the table. I sit 5th now behind Liverpool, tied with you on points. I have, I think, a higher goal differential. I inadvertently expanded Arsenal's lead at the top to 6 points with the draw against Manchester City. They are now drawing with Villa, and then Liverpool round out well behind, but still in a Champions League place. I'm going to take this off real quick. A lot of parity. Brentford to Crystal Palace is all separated between 3 points, so it's a lot of moving can still happen. Bournemouth and Brentford basically swap places, and that's 8 to 10 positions, flopped. So we'll see what continues to kind of space itself out there as the fixtures are now coming 2 per week, and that's going to really test some clubs. Yes. But if we're talking about kind of another important aspect, obviously the relegation battle here, it does start with Bournemouth now. Obviously, as you can kind of see, they're not super far down, but they continue to drop points. They're going to get down there at 23. Leeds, with a great run of form lately, have catapulted themselves out of and even a spot above the relegation fight. As it really right now comes down to the last 4. Nottingham at 18 points, West Ham at 14, Burnley at 12. And hey, you know what? Wolves still may be going down, but damn it, they're going to try. They got to win. It was their first win of the season. I'm proud of them. Hey, we've seen crazier things. It's early enough in the season. They get 2 or 3 more. You never know.
I love that for them because they are going down fighting. They're trying to at least not be the worst team to be sent down, but some time to go still. But thank you for doing the table. I appreciate that when you at least do that. All right. That's it. That'll do it for us. Go ahead. I'm going to talk about Thursday show.
Oh, well, midweek matches. You got Burnley at Turf Moor with the new head coach, or I guess the interim. I got Fulham at Craven Cottage with the new head coach, and the actual important fun game that doesn't really involve both of us. Liverpool traveling to the Emirates. Hey, I know Liverpool has been shoddy this season, especially defensively. They can get up for a game. They can get up for a game whenever they feel like it. Honestly, it wouldn't help them with more hurt Arsenal. And so I know you don't like seeing Liverpool win. It wouldn't hurt you, and it would kind of be fun to see Aston Villa nudge a little closer to that top spot.
I guess 0-0 draw. That's what I root for.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that too.
There we go. So that'll do it for us here for the Tuesday episode. Thursday, college football playoff preview, NFL playoff preview. I don't know what else to say. Do I need this? Do I need to preview?
There's some other stuff, but those are the top two.
Oh, I'm also going to debut. Not 100% sure on this name. Big Bros, Big Ballers. College basketball. Big Bros, Big Ballers is coming. Men's and women's college basketball. Spoiler alert. We will be highlighting both sides of the game there. Coming for you on Thursday. So as I said, college football playoffs, NFL playoffs, and some college basketball as well. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Sports Show. Lil bro, final shout outs.
Listen, thank you everyone watching, liking, commenting, however you help support the show. We love you guys so much. Can't wait to see what's ahead in 2026. I highly doubt it will involve good sports teams for either of us, but who knows? You never know. Regardless, love you guys.
Love y'all too.
You got one. You got one. Don't don't talk about Notre Dame like that. You got one, and you didn't even make the college football playoff this year, so shush it.
And we running it back this year.
You didn't play it. You gonna run it back? You're gonna get 13th again?
Run it back. Notre Dame to the Natty next year. I'm putting it out there now. Guardians to the World Series. Cowboys versus Browns in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Manchester United versus Chelsea in the Champions League final again. I'm putting it in the air. We're gonna sprinkle it in now. We'll run that back next year when none of this comes true and none of this comes close. Appreciate all my guys and my gals in the comment section. We appreciate and love all of you as I'm falling apart at the end of the show. My guy Ray, appreciate you. Cuzzo, all of my people. Real quickly, I will touch on it because Coach Gag didn't bring it up. The Cleveland Rams and the Ohio Broncos merged in the PAFL. My thoughts on that are, and moving on, because I don't want to talk about it because I don't care and I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest with you, because I'm Rapids only here. Mwah. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Sports Show. Like I said, we will see you Thursday for our preview show for the weekend. Enjoy whatever weather you have. Ours isn't great, but enjoy it. And please remember to always love yours.
Hey, Cam's got fire and a wild hot take. Hey, Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Hey, laughing loud when your team goes down. Hey, Straub boys run this sports town. Show. This is the Straub Sports Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for the fight. Hey, college game day and Thursday night. Hey, rivals fall and the banter flies. We bleed our teams till the day we die.